At the start of Avatar The Last Airbender, Sokka considers himself a warrior, but he does not contemplate what exactly that means. He wants to fight the Fire Nation. He wants to be like his father. When his father and all the other older men of his tribe leave, he's left as the oldest guy there, and he responds by embracing this sexist version of masculine authority. The show, thankfully, does not take him seriously, and neither does his sister Katara, who calls him out quite bluntly, saying that she is the one who has been taking care of them both ever since their father left. Meanwhile, Sokka wastes his time on pointless stunts, such as attempting to organize all the toddlers in his village into a fighting force. In Season 1, Sokka is by far the most comedic character in the show. Sometimes this is because he's cracking jokes, but more often this is because he is the butt of these jokes. There are points where he does get to be clever, such as in episode 114 of Avatar, The Fortune Teller. In this episode, he does have a few things happen to him that make him look ridiculous. However, he also gets in a few good lines, such as when an ignorant and country bumpkin is like, "Does your science explain why it rains?" And Sokka's like, yes, it does! However, Sokka is for the most part a fool in Season 1, an arrogant teenage boy who is secretly insecure and wants desperately to stop others from finding out about his insecurity. In his first fight of the show, in the second episode of Avatar, he attempts to take his spear and go fight Zuko, only for the professionally trained Zuko to defeat him within seconds. Even more humiliating is what happens to him in the fourth episode of Avatar, The Warriors of Kyoshi. Even after these warriors kidnap him and the other members of Team Avatar, he antagonizes them, believing that they never could have kidnapped him because they're not men. His sexist pomposity nearly results in him becoming food for the unagi, the giant sea serpent that exists in the waters outside Kyoshi Island. Thankfully, cooler heads prevail and Sokka survives. Despite this, he loses over and over and over again to Suki, the warrior who leads the all-female Kyoshi warriors. And as a result of all these defeats, Sokka finally accepts that he was wrong to discount her abilities on account of her sex. Sokka learns a bit of humility throughout the course of this episode, and for his troubles he receives a kiss on the cheek from Suki by the end of the episode, but this does not result in him learning and establishing a positive vision of who a warrior can and should be. If a true warrior isn't a foolish blowhard who refuses to accept the independence and agency and intelligence of women, that's fine in Sokka's mind, but who should he be? What is the ethos of a true warrior? Sokka struggles with this question for the next 2 seasons of Avatar. As he slowly moves away from a limited and constricting view of masculinity, he finally stops lying to himself. The creators of Avatar The Last Airbender have described Sokka as being a total and complete nerd, and this is true enough. While Sokka is not a terrible fighter, his fighting skills are lacking compared to those of the other members of Team Avatar, and as a physical fighter, he doesn't grow as much as, say, Katara, who starts off barely being able to waterbend at all, but by the end of Season 2, and especially by the end of Season 3, she has developed into a true waterbending master, able to not only manipulate the element however she pleases, but truly understand what waterbending is about. Sokka is nowhere near as competent. It certainly doesn't help him that he is the only non-bender of the 5 main members of Team Avatar, but this is not the only real factor. Compare him to, say, Prince Zuko, who in the episode Zuko Alone manages to defeat an entire group of bully soldiers with nothing but his skills as a swordsman. He doesn't even have to resort to firebending. Even when he conceals his identity and presents himself only as the Blue Spirit, his abilities are ninja-like. He's very stealthy and very smart about how to use that stealth. He's very agile. Sokka cannot compare. Sokka is the kind of person who tries to do a sneak attack by crying out the word sneak attack. Despite this, he's very intelligent and he's a skilled strategist. He is the one who decides to stay in the library in the episode The Library when everyone else wants nothing more to leave. This is not because he wants to stay there. Indeed, the keeper of the library, Wan Shi Tong, is more dismissive to Sokka than he is toward anyone. But Sokka knows this is his one chance to gather information about the Fire Nation and about the movement of the celestial bodies so that he can launch an invasion of the Fire Nation during the eclipse. As during the eclipse, firebenders lose their power. True, this plan does fail, but it is a plan that would have absolutely succeeded had Azula not discovered it and acted against it. Absolutely none of that is Sokka's fault. Being a great warrior, thus, is as much mental as it is physical. The show underlines this in episode 304, Sokka's Master, in which Sokka receives instruction in the way of the blade through Master Piandao. Ostensibly, the focus is on pure physical sword fighting skill, and Sokka does indeed improve significantly in this respect throughout the episode. He becomes a markedly superior swordsman when compared to the person he was back at the beginning of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yet, this increase in swordsmanship is not the greatest change in Sokka induced by the meeting with Piandao. As Piandao makes sure to state, Sokka's greatest advantage in his corner is not his skills. It's certainly not his skills. It's his cleverness, it's his creativity, it's his adaptability. He's the kind of person who will cover his face in ink and smear the ink across a scroll when asked to provide his signature and to practice calligraphy. And Sokka is the kind of person who will add a rainbow to a bad picture of a waterfall when asked to paint the waterfall. And Sokka doesn't provide any justification for this. He's a weird guy, but Avatar clarifies that there is nothing wrong with this. He's smart and versatile. True, he suffers from some strange mental lapses and poor decision-making at times, such as when Team Avatar is infiltrating the Fire Nation, and instead of wanting to get disguises, Sokka believes everyone in the team should just spend all their time hiding in caves, but Sokka is also capable of true genius. What Sokka has to learn is how to reconcile what he wants to be, that being a bold and brave and fearless warrior, with who he actually is, which is a complete and total dork. At the start of Avatar, he believes he has to suppress that dorkiness and nerdiness in order to become a great warrior, but as the series progresses and Sokka embraces his true characteristics, he stops trying to act like a tough brute. Instead, he embraces the fullness of himself. He becomes more mature, he becomes more confident, he becomes more self-assured. He stops trying to delude others and himself regarding who he really is. So thank you all for watching. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe. Donate to my Patreon if you can and you want to see more videos like this. Keep watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. It is a brilliant, challenging, thoughtful show that is only getting better with time. I don't know if the Netflix reboot will be good, and honestly I doubt it will be if it ever comes out. But regardless of what happens with that reboot, we will always have this wonderful show to care about and to treasure. So anyway, tune in soon for my next analysis. It will be coming soon. That I can promise you. Thank you all again. Adios, comrades.